Welcome to the SuperStar Communicator podcast. My name is Susan Heaton-Wright, a leading impact, speaking and communications expert. My aim is to show you how to make an impact so you will be heard, listened to and respected for career success. Listen weekly to the podcast and go to our website, superstarcommunicator.com. Hello everybody, this is Susan Heaton-Wright from the SuperStar Communicator podcast. We are still largely working remotely, some face-to-face, lots of hybrid work, but I want to share with you a great interview that we recorded last year with my old intern, Ella Proudlock, who has recently graduated from Cambridge University. In this interview, she asks me questions about how you can work with SuperStar Communicator and also lots of things about how we work. So enjoy it. And I should say, welcome, Ella.
Thank you. I've been lucky enough to get to know Susan over the lockdown period and been working with her as an intern on social media and marketing and a couple of other things. So hi. Thank you for letting me have this opportunity of an internship. It's been great working with you. So I've crafted a couple of questions if you're happy to try and answer them.
I will do my very best to answer them, Ella.
Yeah. So firstly, what inspired you to come up with and create the SuperStar Communicator? Because this is the brand that you've been working on for quite a few years now.
It is. Do you know, I am passionate about ensuring that everybody has a voice and that everybody, when they speak, is heard and respected and not spoken over and not ignored. And you know, when you dig down, you realise that, I certainly realise that relates to me. Particularly when I was younger, I was overlooked for things because I was quiet. Perhaps I didn't vocalise and communicate what I needed to in the most effective way. And so that's the core reason why I do what I do. And amazingly, you attract the right people for you. So I've worked with some absolutely incredible people who are very talented, who are brilliant at their jobs. And on occasions, they are misunderstood, or more importantly, they are undervalued because they're a little bit quiet, or perhaps they take a little bit longer to come up with an answer to a question. We all know people like that. We're all different, and it doesn't mean to say that those people are any less effective and valuable for an organisation. And so that's really the core of why I've set up SuperStar Communicator.
Yeah, well, that's really lovely, because you definitely, if you overlook and ignore people, you miss out on those people that maybe have those ideas, but they're just not able to vocalize them as well. And so helping them to really show themselves just helps the overall business world, because you can't have everybody the same, everybody outgoing and extrovert. So no, I think it's a really good idea that you've come up with. So yeah, so you really try to help individuals and teams to become more confident and boost themselves in their career potential. What do you like to give to individuals who want to boost their personal presentation within their career?
I've created my own communications model, a methodology called SuperStar Communicator. So I identified 5 key areas that I believe make a massive difference if you understand them for communication. And those 5 are audience, really understanding your audience, so that you understand that there is a purpose for you speaking, what will be of value to them, what's in it for them. Content. So making sure that when you speak, and written communication works with this too, that when you speak and communicate, that it's concise and structured in such a way that it will make the maximum impact. Then preparation, and you know as well as I do that preparation is key, isn't it? So often we look at other people and think, well, you know, it must be easy for them, they've just arrived and spoken, and yet we don't see the preparation that goes into creating a great speech or presentation, or even contributing to a meeting. And this thing also includes managing your fear, which is a big one for many people when they're speaking. Then there's the performance side, really thinking about your presence and your physical impact, including your facial expressions and your gestures. And then the voice. Now, you won't know from this interview that I'm a former opera singer. I do not mean singing, but the vocal tone that you have, the pitch, the way that you speak can make a massive difference to the impact you have on other people. And I work with people on this, that they can really get some interest and passion into their voices so that it will engage others.
No, that's really good. And do you think the opera really helped you actually learn to present and really express yourself in a certain way?
Absolutely. People often think that I'm a vocal coach, which I'm absolutely not, just because I was an opera singer. But opera singing involves a full performance. And that you're not just standing on a stage, you are performing and expressing emotion physically as well as vocally. And you have to be involved in the preparation. You have to understand your audience, because you bounce the energy off them in order to create even better performances. And the content, you know, I've done enough opera and song and oratorio to understand how you can structure it so that it makes the most impact. And of course, it's 16 years since I was a professional opera singer. Since then, I have trained and acquired far more skills in those areas, and I relate it to everyday performance. And you will know from studying English for A-level that Shakespeare says, all the world's a stage and everyone's a player.
Yes.
So when we are communicating with others, we are performing, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, no, definitely. You talk about audience and how with opera singing you used to bounce off of the audience. Obviously, lockdown has changed the working environment for many of us, maybe forever. And your blogs and recent podcasts have tried to address more about virtual working. What would be your advice to people looking to optimize their virtual presence when they don't have that live audience or live connection with people?
That's a really interesting question, because of course we are seeing people on screen. Now, I'm doing this interview with you and I can't see you, but I can hear you. And I'm aware that you are interjecting with little vocal comments to show that you are listening. Yeah. And I think that what we need to do is to visualize the other person that we're speaking to if we can't see them, or to put in place some things that allows them to be in a two-way conversation. So, for example, I do lots of virtual workshops. I've had some where there have been 300 people on the call, which is amazing, so exciting, but I cannot see all of them. And so what I do is have in place some things like polls or encourage chat or a brainstorm session so that there is some interaction with the audience. It shows me that they're listening. It makes those people feel that as a member of the audience, they're actively involved in the conversation. And it's really interesting.
Yeah, I suppose getting that interactive experience, even when you're not together in the same room, is a really good way of boosting performance and just getting that relationship and connection between people. Because I don't know how you feel about it, but do you feel that relationships and building that relationship with the people that you're working with really helps when you are performing and boosting your personal confidence and understanding?
Yes, it does. I mean, the difference between, if we go back to opera and a conversation, business conversation that we're having, is that when I was singing, it was very likely that there would be very, very few people in the audience that I knew. And so actually I was projecting a particular persona via the music. So it was the overall musical performance. Whereas with a business relationship that we might be building up through a virtual conversation, yes, it might be one person, it might be 5 people that we're in a meeting with. And it's worthwhile that preparation and really understanding who you're speaking to that can make that difference, because we've only got a limited amount of time, less time really for virtual, because our attention span wanders.
Yeah. You talk about preparation. I'm guessing preparation gets easier as you have more experience. What advice would you give to people that are starting out that maybe don't know how best to prepare in their career? What kind of tips can you give for how to present yourself, how to come across, and how to really just boost and make an impact when you're quite young and starting off?
That's again a really good question. I would, if we go through the 5 elements of the SuperStar Communicator Methodology, I could talk through 5 things that I believe that could really, really help you. So first of all, audience. If you take a little bit of time to understand what the purpose is of the conversation, so what's in it for the person that you're talking to, why are you both having the conversation? Who are they? Are they somebody that's very senior in your organization? Are they somebody who works in an organization that you would love to work in? Do they happen to be a friend of your mother's? And I don't mean that disrespectfully in any way. Don't think of that as being it's a friend of your mother's, but try to find out about their background. So from a content point of view, we have less time to make an impact virtually because people's attention span is much less. We get distracted by noises outside or our phone beeping or an email coming through that we would normally ignore if we were in a face-to-face meeting. So really try and prepare 3 or 4 things that you want to cover.
Yeah.
You could always double check within your preparation what it is that the conversation's going to be about, so you can prepare and think about some really interesting things. And from the performance point of view, try and be relaxed, try to be yourself, smile, be authentic. You know, I was young once, believe it or not. It's very easy to try and big yourself up when in fact the other person knows that you haven't had that much experience and just wants to see your passion and wants to see your desire to work hard. And from the vocal point of view, I always say, speak so that it is as easy as possible for other people to understand you. So if you're speaking really, really fast or mumbling, they're going to switch off.
No, that's really good advice. Thank you, Susan. So I think that covered most of the questions that I wanted to ask you. So thank you so much. Thank you so much to Susan for the support and opportunity you've given me over this internship period. And I really hope the SuperStar Communicator just continues to grow, because so far you've managed to get even more listeners on your podcast, which is amazing, and I'm so happy for you. Obviously, for the listeners to the podcast, they've probably found your podcast. Are there other places that they can find and connect with you?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn, Susan Heaton-Wright, and if you send me a contact request, put in the contact, personalize it, then I know exactly where you're from. Also, my website is superstarcommunicator.com, and I have a Facebook presence, which is SuperStar Communicator, and LinkedIn is Susan Heaton-Wright 1.
Yes, that's great. So hopefully everyone can find what they need from you.
So before we finish, Ella, I would like to thank you for all of your hard work in this last few weeks. You started at the beginning of July. It has been an absolute pleasure to work with you and to see you embrace the projects that I've given you. I've learnt as much from you as I'm sure you've learnt from me about the business. And I wish you every success for your final year at Cambridge University.
Thank you so much. It's honestly been so lovely working with you. You've made it really lovely for me. And I've just had a great time.
So listeners, let's wish Ella well. Until next time, this is Susan Heaton-Wright from SuperStar Communicator. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye. You have been listening to the SuperStar Communicator podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and review the podcast on iTunes and on apps. Please contact us if you want to discuss any topic, could suggest a topic for us to include, or a guest who could come onto the podcast. Go to superstarcommunicator.com.